Oh, what
But
happened to Meat Shake event?
for
A bunch of
some
people canceled on him.
reason,
I had
yes.
it on my calendar. I was actually really looking forward to it.
You know what? All right, you know what? I'll keep this part in. The
Yeah.
reason why Meat Shake Madness was canceled is because all of you guys out there that I've texted freaking are cowards.
Oh, I see.
I actually, one of the people I reached out to, I broke it down for him, told him, hey, look, all cards on the table, this is what you're going to be doing. And he's
Right.
like, no, thanks. I've tasted, I felt the power of a meat shake before. And I'm like, I gotta talk to you about that's actually impressive. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to Dungeons and Dragons and Discussions, the series where I have friends, acquaintances, fellow adventurers to talk about D&D, specifically D&D questions. Although tonight we are not talking about a question, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Joining me tonight are my good friends Josh and Ben, who have been on here before. Say hi.
Hey.
Hello.
There we go. And you saw the title. There's no way to hide it. There's no way to hide it. You saw it. That's why you clicked here. We're doing the thing. We're doing the thing of ranking all of the D&D classes. I forgot to ask you guys, but I kind of have little helpers as to how to rank the classes. The first one, and maybe the most important, to me and probably to people, if you clicked on this video and this is you've never played D&D, we're not going to go into a brief explanation of the class, but one of the ways of ranking the class is the class starter friendly? Is this something that's okay, I've never played a barbarian, can I just pick it up and play it from the get-go without having to research it too much? So is it starter friendly? The second thing is is it adaptable to how you want your character to be, role play wise? You know, do you want you to be more like a combat person? Do you want you to be more of a little thing? Is there a lot of adaptability with the said class? And then I had a third thing, and I don't want to say usefulness was the third thing because that's a bit unfair, because each class each class has its own unique abilities that may or may not be useful. But until I remember what the third thing is, we'll stick with the first two for the most part until it clicks into my brain. But yeah, are we ready to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna start with the very first one that's in front of me. The Barbarian, one of the most classic. What are we feeling?
Just with all three categories, I guess, or are we starting with one particular?
Just this is, I gave you guys the three categories of what it is, but we don't have to go individually into it. Just take into account of okay, this is what I'm looking for. Maybe you can make your argument as why you feel why you would put it in, the rank that you would put it in.
Right.
I don't know what ranks are.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
I'm
here's what I
sorry.
was. If I was are we going a rank 1 to 10 or?
I am sorry.
Yeah.
The typical tier list that has just been flowing around: S, A, B, C, D, F.
Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Okay. So for ease of use for a new player, Barbarian has to be an S tier. It's
Oh, absolutely.
it's just brain dead, and that's coming from a Barbarian main. I love the class. There's a lot of nuance you can get with the character, but it is not a necessity.
Well, with barbarians and fighters, with barbarians specifically, Barbarian is pretty cut and dry. I feel like Rage isn't that. You don't really need to have a lot knowledge of Rage, you know.
Yeah, its biggest ability, like the wordiest ability under its belt, is definitely Rage, and it's basically increase 3 stats, and you have advantage on some things. Like
and then, resistance to certain types of damage, which is very easy. Okay, as far as like, you know, adaptability into like what you want this class to be.
Okay, like a B.
Yeah, I was like B, high C at the most.
See, like I think it's B. I think that definitely original. Like if we were talking like excited me like 7 years ago, the first books were coming out for 5e. Definitely a C, maybe even an F. Who knows?
Ooh.
But
that's rough.
I feel like if we're sitting at like where we are right now, you have Storm, you have Herald, you have or Zealot rather, and you have like Wild Magic. I feel like it's definitely branched out in a couple of different directions, whereas definitely core book 3 or like, in what way do you want to hit things was definitely the tenets of the core book.
Well, I loved like this. Oh my gosh, I remember what the third list is. I knew it would come to me. Ease of multiclass.
Okay.
Oh, Barbarian is cake to multiclass.
Yeah, Barbarian.
Yeah.
You can multiclass with basically anything. You could do Barbarian Sorcerer if you really want.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, okay, yes, but if like, okay, yes, I get that you can multiclass with anything. You want to multiclass I don't know, a fighter and a bard, or well, actually, that's a really bad excuse because fighter could really, yeah.
I definitely think Barbarian. If we're going like multiclass, I definitely don't think it's S. I would put it at the lowest possible A, because it can basically multiclass. Like if it is a martial class, it's an easy transition. You can be a barbarian fighter, a barbarian ranger, a barbarian rogue, even. Like there's like
those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, like basically anything I would say that's really like martial, and even like half casters, barbarian's like really good for. The only ones where like you're just having fun is like barbarian wizard, barbarian sorcerer.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, no, you could do that. Is it Bladesong Wizard? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you could do Blade Singing Wizard. I think
Barbarian
Sorcerer is harder to do.
So Barbarian Sorcerer is very difficult. Barbarian Sorcerer, the only one I found, and this isn't mine, I found it somewhere online, I can't remember, but it was like you do like Storm Barbarian, Storm Sorcerer, and then like the Simic race that had, and you give yourself a glide, and then you basically give yourself Thunderous Smite on your like axe. You like fly 20 feet, glide the other 10, basically, and then or glide or you go up 10 feet nowhere. Anyway, it equals up to like 50 feet of movement, and you have like your thing, and then next round you rage or whatever. It's very unique, and it's like an absolute one-trick pony. Like you're just doing that every fight and hoping it looks cool for like 17 sessions. That's the only thing you'll ever be able to do cool, but it's possible. It's possible.
Okay, all right. So taking everything into account, I'm hearing like a mid A, like higher B, kind of like somewhere like that.
I would say mid A.
Mid A.
See, I was actually gonna knock mine down. I'd say top B, but.
Well, I mean, when you are role-playing a barbarian, there's really not a whole lot of flexibility in regard. I smash things. That's basically all I do. You can't be a pacifist. You can't. There's ways you can flavor it, but
there's definitely nuances to the cat. I'm gonna pull. A lot of my rankings are probably higher than they should be. I'm pulling really hard because I love my barbarian, but or my barbarians. But it's no. If you're not heavy into the idea of a specific character where you can like arrange a barbarian around. Barbarian's a really good class to just be like, I want to hit things. It's really good.
Ben, I'll give you the deciding vote. Mid A or top B?
I'm gonna go top B, mostly because of the flexibility of the class. Like, if you play barbarian, you're a melee fighter. Like, that's the only thing you can do with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I will put that into the top B. So barbarian, B for barbarian. Next one on the list is the good old bard. Ben, you want to start with this?
Okay. I mean, bard is probably the one that I know the least about.
Really? Let's say we should have had Evan on. He would have.
I know
all the backwards and forwards.
As far as the starting class goes, I would probably put them at. I would probably say B.
So
for a starting class.
This is actually very difficult. Any of the spell casting is gonna be difficult for starters because.
But I think, and you're correct, 100%. But I think that Bard is like the top of that list. I feel like if I had to pick a starting full caster, Bard would be my go-to.
Explain.
I just think that they have it's a much more kind of, I feel like, condensed quote unquote move set, I guess. Like with and you take any of the wizard classes, they're all about like enhancing your spells or doing something like when you're casting in very like particular ways. Sorcerer, you have like all your sorcery points to worry about to balance and do stuff like that. I'm trying to think of my other ones. Cleric,
I think is up there and easier for spells.
Yeah. Cleric definitely like I would say almost like second. But Bard, I just feel like, and again, maybe it's coming from my lack of Bard experience. But if I'm putting it anywhere, I feel like it's very easy just to take your Bard and be like, friends, dancing lights, minor illusion. I'm a Bard, like it's fair.
And what's really funny, that is why I will never play just a straight Bard. I would multiclass something because Bards magic are very specific. There are some damaging. There is a little bit of healing. Bard's magic is very, very support-ish. You are controlling the battlefield like you're like hypnotic pattern or charm person. You are controlling and supporting your friends. There isn't a whole lot of fireball. There is like things like shatter, but not as much as like a sorcerer or wizard would have.
Yeah.
So and I would think that would be easier for someone who wants to get used to magic casting.
The opposite.
Really?
Okay, imagine your first time player and trying to explain every single one of their spells that are all AoE effects and how they have to get around their allies constantly. And always reminding them of their bardic inspirations. And always having to retroactively give, yes, you can use bardic inspiration now because you didn't remember to do it before.
So that's a really good point. So I'm wondering then if I think Bard gets worse as a first-time player if you're playing with other first-time players.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I feel like if you're a first-time player playing a Bard with veterans, they're going to be like, hey, give me a Bardic or whatever. I really want to use it. But I think, you're right. If like you're always forgetting, well, even like blasts and stuff like that, it's so easy to be like dropping those D4s all over the place. But yeah, okay.
Okay, all right.
That's why I leaned more towards like B or C for the caster, because it was like there's a lot of support, and I think the easiest things for new players to do is either I do damage or I heal, and like in a very basic like linear sort of path. When you have to play something that is more of a control or a support, you have to be more cognizant of what everybody else is always doing.
Gotcha. I'm gonna partially skip over the multi-class because Bard, you can multi-class with, you can Warlock or
I think Bard is almost S tier for multi-classing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bard. Bard,
Yeah.
fighter, and I'm gritting my teeth as I say this, maybe the wizard, but we'll freaking get there.
Bard Wizard would be a great multi-class.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying like the classes that are like S tier for
Oh,
multi-class.
yeah.
Bard,
Yeah,
fighter.
We'll get to down there at the end, Wizard. I know one of us will be pulling hard for Wizard.
Oh
but-
yeah.
Who?
But
Yeah.
bards, I feel like are getting the memes around bards are ruining the whole
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
the role playing flexibility, because everybody thinks that I have to no, I can just not. So bards are such like the playboys, and then because of all the memes, that's how they're presented as. And it's
and I mean, like, I love Critical Role. It'd be a fallacy to say otherwise. But like, Sam Riegel really just like set the bar for bards.
Yeah.
And like he's my favorite player on there, hands down. But like he's definitely he set the bar for bards, and everyone's trying to match that energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. So I think
we were going down that road. Sam Riegel plays a bard with every character he does, a different class.
Yeah. So unfortunately, with that in mind, I would give it, with everything, I would give it a like top C, maybe.
Really? See, I would put it C over the things that we have just discussed. But the thing for me that like might even bump it 2 things higher is I think Bard is the most versatile.
Ah,
I would say that Bard is either A or S for versatility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
I will.
the
You know
subclasses.
what? I will say mid A then. Just put it in that little middle ground, but I will put it at A because that is a with the bards, jack of all trades. Like just jack of all trades alone. That is such a game-changing ability. For those,
it is just so like, and the really cool thing about a bard is that like again, like you can express yourself in any way. You could be like a chef bard, you could be a warrior bard, you could be a classic musical. It's just like I absolutely think low A, high B for multi-classing. I think definitely high C for like starting off, but then I definitely think like high A to low S for versatility, and I think that would bump the whole thing up to A. Easy.
Bards are, I would say, speaking to the camera, bards are super flexible, break the norms, build your bard how you want to be. It does not have to be the I seduce the dragon every single time. Gosh, freaking darn it.
It could be, if that's what you really want.
It could be whatever floats your boat. But yes. All right. I will give it the mid-A treatment. And we'll jump next to the cleric. And with the cleric, for me, and spellcasting again, but with the spells, it's like, how do you want to heal said person?
Or do you want to heal at all? You know?
Or do you want to heal at all?
Oh, you can absolutely just play like a I hit things cleric. That's absolutely something you can do.
War cleric, tempest cleric. You're not like you're not wasting spell on cure wounds. You got so many other good options.
Guiding bolt.
No,
guiding bolt, smite.
So good.
Yeah,
wait.
I definitely think if we're moving backwards in the like list of objectives, just to go off of like flat, like because it's the easiest one to rank it. Cleric is another one that is like not even like low S, high A, like it's solid S versatile. It is like you can do anything with a cleric. Like you could be the healer, you could be the tank, you could be the you could be the like wizard. They're like this cleric has gotten so much love with all of the domains. It is like the hot like if we were just ranking versatility, me personally, I put cleric the highest. Like it would absolutely top S.
What about starter friendly though?
Yeah, no. It's back down there. It's definitely I feel like you guys are
B.
Right?
Yeah, I would put cleric at around the B level. Because generally speaking, like when you go into it, it's easiest for a starting player to go like, okay, I'm going into this as the healer, so I take some of the basic healing spells. You don't have to pick too many options for spells, right? Generally speaking, it's pretty easy to pick. You get medium armor proficiency, which is always really friendly for new players. So
Yeah,
it hits
Yep,
much.
yep.
true.
And the only other really special thing that you do early on is your like one-time use of your oh fuck, what's it called? Your channel divinity.
Yeah.
And like that's really the only other outstandish thing that you've got.
So, are clerics one of the classes that can, after a long rest, they can change their spells?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's definitely more.
That's very beginner friendly too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
heck
like,
yes.
I don't know
But-
what spells I want, so I picked these ones and they sound cool, and now you're locked in for 3 sessions till the DM will give you a level up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely helpful. But at the end of the day, you're still having to deal with spell casting. So,
Yeah.
no,
Which is
yeah.
why I would rank it down to B, because I think it's one of the highest of the spellcasters. Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. Clerics
Player
are very essential. I feel like, I mean, this is very, you need to have, like, this is just, like, speaking from, like, just, you know, how to build a D&D party. You need to have at least one class with some type of healing magic, whether that be a bard, a cleric, or a druid, or a paladin. And just a cleric is just a surefire way of making sure that you have a nice little back
Just
and
access
forth of,
to the spell slots.
yeah,
for sure,
yeah. And then if you wanted to have, like, okay, I got, like, you know, healing word or something, and then build how you want, you know, your cleric to be. It's just, you need to know, you have to, like, you know, worry about all the little side abilities that a cleric has, which is not too fun. But yeah.
See, and I think I would put cleric as well, maybe low S, but I think I'd put cleric S for multi-classing as well. Just again because there's so many domains.
Yeah.
Like you could like barbarian war domain, you could like wizard arcane domain, which is kind of, you know, on top of each other, but you could. It's very.
I don't want to squash all of your barbarian stuff, but if you're casting a concentration spell, can't you not focus on it when you're raging?
Yeah, for sure. But the thing with the war cleric, because what is their thing?
Well, so I'll throw this out to you, okay? You want to play a barbarian that's really fun multi-classing with the cleric? You cast what's it? What's the one you said? Spiritual weapon. You cast spiritual weapon, which is not concentration. And then you just rage, and then you've got your spiritual weapon, and you're running around the battlefield raging.
There you
That's
go.
true.
That's actually really cool. All right. So
Sorry, that's why I was saying the War 1-2. I remember because they're channeled divinities, like don't require concentration stuff. They're guided strike, which is when you make an attack roll, you can add plus 10 to the roll. War God's blessing. When a creature within 30 feet of you can use reaction to give another creature plus 10 to the. Like you just become like a zone of like, if we need this to hit, it's gonna hit kind of a.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are we thinking? I think. Do we talk about a B or an A?
In terms of the starting, right? We said B.
Yeah.
But I think if we've placed 2 of them in S, I'm fine to put cleric in S.
Yeah.
So what's in? Oh man, I need to have. I should write this down. Barbarian was in
B.
B. Bard was in A.
A.
Okay.
I think like it's the only thing that really bumps them down is that they're not very like beginner user friendly, but because they're the top of the user friendly, like for full casters. Yeah.
All right, and you know what? Yeah, we can put cleric in C because clerics are essential. No, it's not C. S. Because clerics are essential for, you know, keeping the party alive.
Off of the 3 criteria. Like I don't know if they're like an S tier class in like if you're just taking everything as like a whole with the 3 specific criteria. I think they're S with what we're judging for.
All right, fair enough. Next up is the druid.
This
Okay.
is not player friendly.
No.
I don't care what
No.
other people say. This is
No,
not
This is
player
not.
friendly.
It's because not only are you full caster, but you have to look up the monster manual.
Yeah.
Like you're not only looking at like 30 spells a level on what you want to
Yep.
do, you're also looking at 100 beasts that you could possibly transform into. It's
So,
yeah, no.
I have to give props to my friend Philip for starting with druid.
What did your wife do? Didn't she?
Oh yes, Mary
Yes.
Beth too.
Yeah.
She started. Wow, but yeah, a lot of things you have to take care of in regards to like multi-classing. I have a hard time thinking of a decent build. I know like monk. I know monk can work, maybe fighter as well. Barbarian, druid would work too, but it's like very specific circumstances, I think.
I feel like they're pretty decent at multi-classing. Because, like, wisdom is not usually the dump stat as well.
Yeah.
And, like, so I think Wild Shape has a lot of interesting interactions with the classes that people don't think about. Like, I'm pretty sure you could use Channel Divinity while you're Wild Shaped.
Probably. Well, I mean, you can cast technically as long as there's no somatic or verbal.
Yeah, which would make Sorcerer a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You
for
just
sure.
subtle spell something.
Yeah.
You're...
Yeah, because
Okay.
like you could just transform into whatever you were, but keep your spell chant like necklace non-transformed or whatever. So
Before we get too far in this, I want
Yeah,
to make sure that you can.
I was gonna say, I don't think you can cast spells because that's a druid ability that you get like high level, like at 17 or
Really?
8. That 17 or 18, it's like oh, I have it right in front
Yes,
of me. I should.
it explicitly states you can't cast spells.
Yep.
oh
that being
damn.
said-
Okay. All right.
That being said, there are other things that you can do.
Yep,
know,
you
when-
can cast concentration and then a concentration spell and then shapeshift. Channel Divinity I feel like could work. Rage definitely could work.
Rage definitely works.
All these other things that can
Flurry
work.
of Blows definitely works.
Okay. I actually looked into this. The druid I'm playing currently, I was thinking about multi-classing to monk, but I stopped because Flurry of Blows does not work with multi-attack like that comes with the bear. It doesn't.
Okay.
So it like it's like, oh, I want to use multi-attack, but then I wouldn't be able to trigger Flurry of Blows, which is quite unfortunate. So yeah.
But as a bear, if you did Flurry of Blows, that's 3 attacks, as opposed to just your normal.
I also feel like too when you talk about druid and multi-classing, I feel like it's not the best as in like it has a lot of options, but I definitely feel like the options it has might be the strongest.
There's
Because,
a lot of
like-
very niche.
Well, because like always top 3 multi-class list, like you will always see Moon Druid Barbarian. Like you will always see like that combo. Like
Druid
it's just
is-
like Moon Druid Barbarian is like one of the most like I think it might be the top multi-class that's not cheesy. Because obviously Sorelock is above that, but that's just like taking advantage of game mechanics.
Yeah.
Whereas like Moon Druid Barbarian, you're strong within game mechanics.
Yeah. And that's another thing with like the multi-classing. I think the same thing with the bard. I think a barbarian moon druid is like played so much, everybody now wants to do it. I'm definitely fell victim to being a moon druid because it's just so nice. It's
definitely
nice.
banned from almost every table I've ever
Oh
played.
yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh,
This
are
is
you
like
kidding me?
you can't do this. You can if you're a veteran player, you cannot do this to me.
Yeah.
And you know what? Side tier list. In the side tier list of overpowered classes, druids are in there, like high.
Yeah.
Because you like just if you're moon druid or just something else, I mean, you just ship.
Well,
Circle of the Stars is so good.
yeah.
And even Wild Shape is just insane. Like it'd be insane to turn into an animal flat, but like the fact that you get that pool of hit points, that like
So
with
much so good.
with a class ability, like level 5 class ability, you will be able to gain more hit points than the average cleric could ever heal you with like a reasonable amount of spells. Like you just turn into a rhino or whatever, right? Like it's I don't know about level 5, but you know what I mean. Like it's or a bear or whatever. Like you just gain 30 hit points and you can still do other like it's
and you gain 30 and you're good for the rest of the battle. Have fun.
And with that, like as well, I feel like versatility is pretty high. Like you are stuck within a particular archetype, but because of wild shape, like you can take the kind of rogues scouting ability and be a bird or take the barbarian or paladin's frontliner and just be a bear or whatever, right? Like it's you are stuck within the confines of the concept, but I feel like so I think it's like an A versatility. I don't think it's an S versatility, but I do think it's quite versatile.
I would definitely be happy putting the druid into A. Like I definitely would be happy putting it there because of not a starter, but also really good to build, a character that you want, even though you are restricted a little bit in regards to that character build, but it's still versatile.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
All right. Moving on. Brief, okay? Because I know there's so many different ways that you could fighter. Very brief. Fighter.
Versatile.
New players.
Yeah. Fighter has to be S tier, just in right there. It is S tier versatile. It is S tier new players. It is
S tier multi-classing.
Yeah, S tier multi-classing. Like if you just want to call it there, it's just S. Like it can multi-class with basically any other class. It is like bread and butter new player. And even if you single classed fighter, like bow fighter, great axe barbarian fighter, like rapier like it's just
there's so many ways. There's so many ways.
Rogue without sneak attack, barbarian without rage. Like it's
and
just
you can be a half caster if you really want to.
Absolutely.
I forgot about that. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll just we'll call it there then.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
We'll go into the I don't want to say the better fighter because that's unfair. Because monks are in a class of their own when it comes to on the
monks
invisible,
are not better fighter.
On the list on the list of overpowered D&D classes, monks are up there.
No.
What? Are you kidding me? Stunning strike.
Power level monk is easily B, but that's not what we're talking about. Yeah, no. I know you like monk, but you're pulling hard for it.
With Josh.
My next in Mary Beth's world, I am playing a monk next, and I will prove to you that they are just overpowered.
Monk is better than it's ever been, but unfortunately, that's not saying much because it's been garbage for so long.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's gone from garbage to recycling. But that's not what we're here to judge.
Let's start with the starter friendly.
I'd say B.
I would give it a B too.
I think there's just a lot, like there's not spells, but there's just so many things to do.
Yes.
Like your points just have so many options. It's definitely going to be a point where a new player would have to stop and be like, oh, right, do I have enough key points for this?
Yeah.
Do I flurry of blows? Did I do this? How many bonus actions have I? Especially the monk's bonus action economy is awful. Like there's so many things. Well, and reactions. It's just it has so many options, but it makes it very difficult to decide.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on too.
And I think clarify, like my thought process when I'm thinking new player, I'm mostly I think considering the first like 3 levels. Because, like, even if you are a brand new player, if you play from first level to 14th level, like, by then you should have a pretty good idea on how to play your character.
If you have played from first to 14th level and your DM has an average say 3 to 4 sessions a level, you're not a new player at the end of that campaign.
Oh, yeah.
You're not a veteran player, but you're not a new player.
No, heck yes.
Yeah, no. Versatility. I'm really so, but they're not very versatile either. They have a whole bunch of different ways of punching things, but it's still just punching things.
Yeah. I will say. I will say
makes them a little more versatile, but then you're being like nitpicky with subclasses.
Yeah. You want to know what really bugs me is that there is an optional class feature that helps a little bit better, but the whole what is a monk weapon and what cannot be a monk weapon.
Yeah.
I know that helps with power scaling, and obviously I can't use a great sword as a monk because that would just make it broken. And there is the optional class
broken personally, but
okay. There's an optional class feature that lets you dedicate a weapon, but there's still some specifications that you need to follow. I just want to be able to use a weapon with a monk and call it a day, but
monks are very good at what they do, but it's not very versatile. You can what's the way of the healing one? I can't remember.
Way of Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy. Yeah. Your punches heal people. Way of the Elements. Your punches are Avatar.
Terrible
way of the Open Palm. Your punches are even more punches. There's a lot of versatility within the very big box that is Monk, but you're within that box basically.
I think a lot of their newer subclasses have done a better job of opening them up. Ascended Dragon is interesting.
Cobalt is not official yet, but I've looked into Cobalt. It's kind of interesting.
Cobalt I think is very interesting, especially for multi-classing purposes, like an investigator type deal. I think that's cool. What was the other one? Astral Self, I think, is really interesting.
Astral Self is so cool. Yeah. That's the one that I really loved, because of what you could do with that when you get into higher levels. But what I'm hearing from both of you is a solid B.
Honestly, I would put monks in C.
You know what? Yeah, I think I'd high C it, but I think monk would be in C. You might be the top of C, but monk's a C.
This makes me so sad.
I know.
But I'll do it because we don't really have something in C yet. But I'll do it. But it makes me sad. But
I know. Monks are very fun, but given the 3 criteria, they are very low on each of the 3.
I will have fun playing that monk when I get to playing it.
Yeah,
all right. Next up is the paladin.
Okay, you guys should start because I love paladin's my second family to my barbarian, so I'm gonna be pulling very hard for it.
Paladins are
brand new players. Let's start in each category first.
Okay.
So brand new players.
There is a little bit of some scaling some stuff that you do definitely have to learn. That being said, it's not the most awful stuff. It's not the most basic stuff. It is a nice little medium ground. Crap, camera, can you focus, please? Gosh, freaking darn you! We were doing so good. It's because I put my hands up.
I think starting.
There we go.
We're talking top B, bottom A.
I agree.
I'm letting you guys as the kind of base or non-judgment. I would put it A because it's kind of like I think I would put it very high on the the new player grasping of half-casters, because again, it's the only spells you really get are you make my hit stronger and I heal you a little bit.
Yep.
Like that's really all you have to worry about. You have all your different smites, you have a couple of different detects, but it's very condensed. I would put paladin new player at A. I feel like a a paladin is what a new player should play if they want to stretch a little beyond fighter. And again, fighter's super fun. Like you can do a ton with fighter, but if they're looking for something with a little bit more to think about than fighter, I feel like paladin's where you start.
I would definitely agree with an introduction to spellcasting. Paladin would be a nice little starting ground.
I actually agree to that.
Because their spellcasting not complicated at all.
Yep. Pretty straightforward. Hit this guy harder, and heal your friend a little bit. Lay on hands, all that jazz. We definitely do.
I think A is fine. I'm fine with A.
Okay.
For that.
Yeah. Okay, for that. I was like, Ben already said put his foot down. A, just A.
No. I in my heart already know he's A. I'm just gonna let you guys come to that conclusion on your own.
Sure.
We all three have this is what makes us a good D&D group, because we all three have very clear favorites.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel 100% like that's a really good idea, because Ben is so much the caster, I'm so much like the tank, and I think you're so much the DPS that it's I think that we really do have a really interesting grasp of the different, because I'm barbarian, I'm paladin, those are my babies. I definitely think Ben's artificer, wizard, sorcerer, and I know for a fact, fighter, monk, rogue, I definitely think is,
And even when I played Barbarian, I played control lockdown.
I know.
I played normal Barbarian.
You did great.
How can I make this the most complicated Barbarian it's possible to make? Okay.
Yes.
No. Just next step, versatility. I definitely think they don't have a lot. I think they suffer from the same thing that monks do, which is they are very much have a lot of different picky and choosy building block bits for what they do, but it doesn't really extend past that.
Yeah. This might hurt you a little bit. I would put it in S if it wasn't for that. Because of that, it's an A. It's
versatility?
No.
Oh.
No. We're currently bouncing. No. Versatility. See, even pulling for paladin, versatility has to be a C.
Yeah.
I was thinking D.
It might be D.
Oh, that definitely bumps it down in my opinion. We're now in B territory.
I know. Yeah, I definitely.
Because there is only one reason that you multi-class into paladin. And that's for smite. That's the only reason. That's the only reason you multi-class into that.
No, I definitely. Again, I feel like they suffer very similarly to to monks, which is there's a whole bunch of different kinds of oaths, but they all do. They're all pointing the same direction. They go off in different paths, but it's all very much within the same kind of box.
You want to hear a big gripe for me about paladins?
Yeah.
It's probably such a weird gripe for me. I don't like that charisma is their spellcasting ability.
Really? See,
I agree with that.
Really? See, I actually don't mind charisma being their spellcasting ability. I think that wisdom might be the smarter choice, but I feel like paladins are all about even when you're an evil paladin, you're all about this presence.
That's fair.
You're about leading, or you're about fear, or you're about glory, or conquest, or protection. It's all about your presence, being there.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? It's actually really funny. You weren't there for the last session, Josh, but John was saying that he should have been a paladin.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to branch out again, I think it would be a paladin.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. The multi-classing is an option. But okay, I would be happy putting the paladin in A then.
No.
Really?
No. I love my paladin, but
I'm being nice. I'm trying to be nice.
Well, I know. I was so gung ho. I'm like, oh, he's A. He's great for new players. What's the other one? His multi-classing isn't awful because everyone wants his smite. So smite goes good with every other class. But his versatility is just the only thing that you want from paladin is the smite, unless you're going really hard into paladin. So I think he's B. I think he's above. No, I think he might be below barbarian.
I think he's B.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
but Barbarian's in B, so is he above?
Barbarian is a B.
Yeah.
Paladin is a
yeah.
B.
So is Barbarian. Yeah. So I think he might be below Barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even Barbarian has the versatility, you know, like he's not amazingly versatile, but he's got like he could be tougher or hit harder or wild magic or whatever. I feel like Paladin just doesn't have the versatility.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Clear your minds. Erase all the memories that you have. Go into this with a clean slate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we need to talk about Rangers.
Of course.
Come on! All right. Okay.
I will say, because they're awful, they make very good new player characters.
Whoa, that's rude.
I don't think they do.
Really? Okay.
No, because like, what happens is like eventually the new player's going to be like, oh, is that all I do? While they sit around the table of veteran players who are doing all of this really cool shit, they go,
Yeah.
Oh,
I know what's really funny?
I guess this is my campaign now. I played this.
You know what's really funny is I was building a ranger, right? I was building a ranger and then realized, oh, I could do the same thing that I want to achieve with a warlock or a fighter or a rogue.
Yep.
Oh crap.
Or any combination of
or yeah, okay. I say this with a straight face, all seriousness.
Yeah.
Rangers have interesting abilities for very specific circumstances, and that's it.
I think Rangers might be the best flavored class.
Explain.
I think that when it comes to the versatility of the kind of play of the kind of character you could make a ranger into, I think they have the best story potential.
I'd give their versatility an A. I'd give versatility an A.
Because I don't know about their abilities, but conceptually, I feel like you could make an urban bounty hunter with a dog, or you could make like a splunking gnome gloomstalker who's like a guide to some. I just think that like ranger doesn't just have to be I don't want to say it because people are going to get mad at me. Rangers don't have to be Vex and Trinket, you know, like
Josh, don't get my channel flagged.
So Trinket is so fucking useless.
I
love Trinket. No,
there's a reason they gave him a fucking Pokeball to hide in.
It wasn't because he couldn't get into places in cities. It was because if he was sneezed on by the big bad, he would have died immediately.
Yeah.
But no, it's. I just feel like for me, I feel like thinking about the kind of stories that and that might be amazing, but think about the kind of stories I like to make characters around. I feel like Ranger is just very broad because, like, again, you could do a like Horizon Walker, which is like
I love the flavor for that class.
Yeah, absolutely. Like different dimensions, the Feywild or the Shadow Realm, just being like ready for like that kind of thing. I feel like Drake Warden is very specifically just better Beastmaster because you get a dragon, not a wolf or whatever.
Your How to Train Your Dragons, your Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragons.
Like Monster Slayer by far is like the best, I think, subclass.
Here.
Ability wise. You don't think so?
Is it?
Yeah, no. Isn't that the one that's like, if you hit you can get like different abilities? Oh, Josh, is that Hunter? I think that's Hunter.
Oh, it is. Sorry, Hunter. Hunter is. Yeah, sorry.
Hunter.
I think Monster Slayer's the like vampire hunty one. Sorry, my mistake.
Hunter is the one.
Is the best. Just. Like ability wise, I feel like Gloomstalker is the best if you're going very specifically that direction. Like you want to be the one trick assassin pony, but I feel like how did I? Anyway, I feel like versatility of story. I feel like Ranger's an A. And I feel like because of that, I would put their versatility within stuff like that is an A. I also feel like, surprisingly, again, just based off of the three criteria, I'm shocking. I'm shocked at how high I'm putting this. But I think versatility might be an A. I think that they don't multi-class awful.
No, and that's the bad thing. That's a bad thing because like all they're in some way all the other classes can be a ranger by themselves, but you can combine a class's abilities to make the ranger's abilities better.
Yeah.
And
See, I think. See, but that's the thing, though. I feel like because I feel like it's very easy to multi-class a. See, but this is bad. See, it's very easy to multi-class a ranger, but it's not so easy to multi-class another class with a ranger. And I feel like it's because when you're a ranger, you want to get out of ranger, and when you're not a ranger, there's no reason to go into ranger.
Yeah, you didn't hear this from me, but Vex's saving grace was multi-classing into a rogue for sure.
I definitely think that it's. I don't know.
I will fight at least for a D.
I mean, yeah, I'll put them in D.
I will fight for a D.
I think that if you take the classes top to bottom, I think that Ranger is an F. But I think that going with the three specific criteria, sure, let's bump them up to a D.
I will put them in a D.
No short classes in this.
You guys, and the rest of you watching, you can fight me, but whatever, it's fine.
I have really good news for the rest of these classes because you won't be worse than Ranger, so no one's getting F.
Yeah, I actually no. I agree with Ben. There might be one.
I might put in there.
Okay, are we doing that one?
I will jump to that one. Well, actually, hold on. I might.
If we're going alphabetically, you've already missed it. So
okay, good. It's not how it's listed. It's listed by the player's handbook. Then so yeah, no, I'll jump to that one. Let's talk Blood Hunter.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Let's talk Blood Hunter.
Good. I want it to be
I know.
good.
In theory. Oh, a werewolf class. That sounds really cool. Oh, a thing with like this experiments with like mutations. That's really cool. What's the other one?
Well, like Witcher the subclass, basically.
Yeah.
Like no.
In theory, it sounds cool.
There's
but
the Ghost Hunter one.
The Ghost Hunter. Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Molly? ? Was.
I think so.
Was it?
I think so.
No, because he used.
He wasn't mutant.
He used ice stuff. Did he get high enough level to be able to?
I don't remember.
That's true too. Hey, no spoilers.
Oh, spoilers! But you know what? If they're not watching, yeah, they could be. Never mind. Anyways, when I'm explaining a Blood Hunter to someone, they're like, "Oh, that sounds cool." Playing a Blood Hunter, holy crap! You just have to have such a good build in order for it to work properly. If you don't,
again, I feel like back to what I said about Rangers, I feel like they have the ability to be very cool narratively. It's just they lack on every other spectrum.
Yep. So
I think that they're super complicated for new players. I don't think they're like as much as like a wizard by far, obviously. But I think that I wouldn't put them above a low B for new players. Like there's just so many different little things you have to like remember to hurt yourself every time. It's not just an ability. Make sure you're rolling to take your own damage. Make sure you remember what curses you have and when, and flip them around and what level you get them.
The curses, some of them are okay, but that's really it. They're really just okay, and it's just difficult. So I feel I will fight for like a good spot for Ranger. I'm scraping for a reason to fight for a good spot for the Blood Hunter.
Yeah.
It's
No.
difficult.
Right.
It is really
No.
difficult.
There is one good build with Blood Hunter, and that is like Werewolf and just lean into it.
Yep.
And
Lean
that's
in
it.
hard.
So there's basically no
hard.
versatility.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like it's an F basically for versatility. I think
Well,
I don't know about button F, but it's pretty low.
I don't want to trash your character because I love the character. But
trash Milo. Milo
I'm not
sucks.
trashing Milo. I'm not trashing Milo. I don't. But
even I didn't like Milo. I'm very vocal about that.
Blood Hunter multiclassing into a Blood Hunter is what happens if you get lycanthropy and you can't cure it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Lycanthropy, straight lycanthropy, even in a wizard, is better than being
A Blood Hunter. Yeah. No.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
No, I would unfortunately put them in F.
I
want
to.
I want Matt Mercer's baby to be higher, but it's just
I
not.
do too. I feel really bad because like when
I will say they're fun.
they're
fun. Just not good.
You are playing, so if you want to play, I'm looking at you guys. Should be looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play D&D hard mode, there are certain classes to play. Blood Hunter is at the top of that list.
I don't even necessarily think that's the way to think about it. I think about it's if you want to play Blood Hunter, make sure you are in a very narrative heavy campaign, because if you have to lean on the combat idea of things,
Heck yes. You know what?
You're just not going to.
If I was going to play a Blood Hunter for the first time, I would have played it in Mary Beth's campaign because very narrative and helpful at the moment. Okay. Going back to
F,
the
unfortunately,
other, F.
Yeah. It's worse Ranger.
Yeah, it is.
It's a worse
Blood
Ranger for almost
Hunter-
everything.
Yeah.
Blood Hunter Ranger multiclass. All right. Now I have to stifle myself. Time to talk about rogues.
Yeah, I think so. Okay,
Josh,
rogues,
don't make me cry, Josh.
Rogues for new players, I'd give a solid A. I don't think they're S, but they're good. Like, they're pretty basic. You just have to remember your sneak attack, and that's about it. That's kind of the most complicated thing they get.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're playing on D&D Beyond or whatever, where like it'll remind you of your advantages and everything, or your expertises, and you just have to remember your numbers. I think rogues. I don't think they're quite S's, just because they do have a couple of like, especially once you hit level 3, some of those subclasses get a little bit branchy.
Yeah,
but
that is fair.
I definitely put them in an A for new players.
Mm-hmm. Multiclassing is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I
fine.
I think A for multiclassing as well. I think that, again, multiclassing. What was the monk that we were saying? Inquisitor and Cobalt Soul or whatever is kind of like I was saying. Rogue and Fighter are bread and butter.
Yeah.
You could do a Rogue and a bunch of like casters. I don't know if I'd go Rogue and Wizard off the top of my head, but I also can't think of any specific combos that I could think of.
I mean, just make a rogue
like
arcane
rogue
trickster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Like rogue bard, rogue trickster cleric. Like, I think honestly, I might put them S for multiclassing. I feel like it's very easy to just slot the sneak attack into really any class. Again, then going forward with the versatility, I think they're very versatile. I don't think they're the most versatile, because you are still they have lots of different ways to be sneaky. But
you still
it really comes back to the idea of you being the sneaky person.
Mm-hmm.
You could be a really good thief. You could be a really good assassin. You could be a really good mortician. You could be a really good this or this or this. But like, it's you really come back to the sneaky aspect. And again, there's like swashbuckler, which is kind of like more kind of yippy about it, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it still comes back to being quite about the kind of sneaky, stealthy.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about a rogue is that, unless I'm an arcane trickster, short rest, I'm ready to go. I don't need anything to recharge. I'm ready to go at all times. Like unless there's some like very specific things with your subclass, which I cannot think off the top of my head. But rogues for like you don't not having to worry about everything. But bring it back. I would be fine with putting them in A, even though I like same thing with you and Paladins. I prefer them to be higher, but I know where to put them.
I think
I might alter slightly the idea that they have to be sneaky. I've played strength-based rogues before, where they're not necessarily sneaky. I think in my head, when I think of rogue, I think more about precision as opposed to being sneaky, because of a lot of their like you get at relatively early levels, like you get a lot of expertises, so it's very easy to find like the niche of what your rogue wants to do, but it's about finding a niche and being precise in that niche. But you also will never be the guy who does 1,000 hits. It's about pinpoint accuracy.
That one hit doing 17 d6 damage.
Oh yeah, you're a one hit wonder.
Dagger.
Yeah, exactly.
One hit wonder. Okay. Put him in A then.
Yep,
and all of things put together.
I think A is good. Yeah.
All right. I don't know why all these guys are at the bottom here, but I mean, there's alphabetized. Next is sorcerer. Oh. What's that look for?
Well, I'm just thinking. I think
sorcerer. They're bad for beginner players.
Yeah,
I put them at
that was where my mind went immediately. Was like if we're going like again in order, beginner players, I think will have a rough time with sorcerer and wizard, but sorcerer specifically. I just feel like sorcerer is you don't have quite as much to worry about as wizard, but where you lose some of the nuance that wizard gets, you gain the complexity of sorcery points, which immediately makes things so much harder.
Yeah. Which, I mean, yes.
I was just going to say one of the big things, and this is where maybe we should have docked a little bit of points for cleric on this, but like because you get your subclass at level 1. There's so many more options during character creation.
You know what? That's true.
So much more to think about.
I forgot about
and it really does lock you in immediately. Yeah. That's very true as well.
Yeah, with all the other classes.
And don't hand wild magic to a brand new player. Don't do that to them. That's so fucking mean.
It is very.
Micah's in a campaign, and a new player both chose to be a sorcerer and wild magic right off the bat, and I'm just like, oh boy.
Yeah. The subclasses have a lot of like, they might not be super complicated necessarily in the first level or two, but the second they get sorcery points, man, that's a can of worms, especially for like certain classes where you've got additional things you can do with your sorcery points, and then you're having to manage between like getting rid of levels, like how many spell slots you have to gain sorcery points to then be able to do other things, and then there's like aberrant mind where you can just straight up cast spells through sorcery points.
Woohoo!
And then swap things off of your list of spells that you get for the class, and like I think it's a lot for a brand new player.
Hey Josh, I want to throw a theory to you real quick.
Sure.
I think Ben is talking down the sorcerer because he knows that the sorcerer is the only other class that can compete with the wizard. What do you think of that theory?
I think stomps the sorcerer, but
I think that it comes down to the 3 criteria, because wizard might be an S tier class, but it's not getting one based off of these 3 criteria.
Oh, it's not.
So
not beginner friendly, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah. No, that's fair. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah.
But sorcerer, there's a lot of confusing crap going on. I think in the hands of someone, a sorcerer is definitely not a first player. Maybe not even a second time playing. You got to have an idea of how to play and then how magic works. And all the
I would put it high C for this.
That I would put it at
Yeah.
high C as well because it
Okay.
is just it's a mid class.
Well, sorry, I mean just
Oh, okay.
for that. I I think like just for new players is a C. I think that again, if we're going into multi-classing, I feel like sorcerer is okay. I
Yeah.
don't think it's the best. I'd put it B for multi-classing. I think
Mm,
it's got a lot of good options, but not a ton. But it's not like
Yeah.
anything can go with it. Um,
Its strength in being able to multi-class is its weakness for new players in that you get your subclass at first level.
mhm,
So it's really easy to just take one level of sorcerer and then get subclass abilities.
yeah.
mhm.
Coffee lock. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, for
yeah.
sure.
Am I wrong? Because that's one of the things that, like, one thing sorcerers
Yeah.
are really known for.
Yeah.
Um,
I definitely think that, and then I think for versatility, A, I think they have a lot of versatility just because they're spellcasters and full
Yeah.
Yeah.
spellcast, and not only spellcasters, but like they're outside of druid even. Like they're like
Yeah.
a step below wizard in the step that you have basically 80% of the spell list, you know? Like you can do anything with those spells. Like
Yeah.
versatility wise, I feel like you could be again, you could be a healer, you could be a tank, I guess, like technically if you want,
Technically.
like you wanted to.
You can.
Yeah.
Draconic
Um.
Bloodline Sorcerer and the Tough
Yeah.
Feat.
Yeah.
You
It's
get a
yeah.
lot of
Ooh.
HP because you get and if you really want to be extra, you take the
Uh,
dwarf that gives you an additional HP per level.
I have to say as
Oh.
well, or you play in my campaign where I let you take Constitution as your spellcasting ability instead because I'm sad that nothing has it and Sorcerer is the closest by far.
We will have to talk about that later.
I
So yeah. So overall, then, where are we putting sorcerer?
put it honestly. Both of my barbarian and my paladin, I feel were letdowns in this criteria. I would put sorcerer in B above those two. I'd put it the highest B is where I would put it. But what are you guys thinking?
I would put it between.
I also agree with between. I would
Yeah.
put it below barbarian but above paladin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And again,
All right.
this is not power level.
Mm-mm.
You're talking about power level.
No.
We're gonna be having a very different conversation here.
Oh yes, totally. That'd be a different. Maybe I'll do a different video about the overpowered classes.
It'd be a totally. I think honestly, these three criteria are good because they're interesting.
Yeah.
Because like everyone's done to death power. Like you could find an IGN article that's pretty accurate to the power level, which is just wizard and then everything else. But
Or
Yeah. Hmm?
I go there
yeah.
all the time.
oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like being very specific and almost like wacky with the criteria, I think is kind of interesting. But either way, what is next?
Yeah. So I really should have started with these. The last three that we have to do, I should have started with first because they're very technical. And the next one is Warlock. And I need to emphasize something right off the bat.
Okay.
I think Warlock is, for like starter friendly, is very dependent. Once the person going into playing Warlock understands that you are a walk in, you cast a spell that like wows everybody and is like, how the crap did they do that? And that's it. Once the person has that in their mind that that's the type of spellcaster a warlock is, then I think they'd be fine, and I think it would be a decent, okay-ish starter class. That being said, someone who's expecting to cast fireball after fireball every single round in combat needs to get a reality check because it's not going to work for a warlock.
Yeah.
I would put them at B.
For starting, yeah.
starters.
Yeah.
I would
put
agree
solid
with a B.
for starting. Yeah.
Um,
I think they're quite versatile.
Oh,
I don't know
heck
if I put
yes.
them S, but I put them A for
I would put them
versatility.
A, absolutely.
Yeah, there's
Um,
so many things that you could allow you.
Well, the invocations or evocations or whatever, you
Yeah.
can building block an entire. You could take the same subclass as someone and still end up with a totally different character just based off of invocations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Once-
and then between your subclass and what pact you pick.
Oh,
Like there's
yeah.
there's so many different options
Mhm.
in terms of like play style that you can.
Hey,
It's
question.
yeah.
Has anyone played Pact of the Chain Warlock before?
I have a theory build that I have not been able to play before because I need a Halloween themed.
I played it in one of my friends was doing what's the Underdark book? I can't remember, but I played in that. We didn't get very far, but I
Okay.
remember I played.
Does it work okay?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
good. It
Alright.
depends on what you're doing, and again, it's by far not the I don't think it's the best pact, but it's fun. It's definitely fun.
it's fun. You hesitated. It's fun.
Yeah, well, it is. It's fun.
All right. Multi-classing is definitely up there, and versatility. Oh, again, warlocks are a bit. They're like the versatility is a bit destroyed by the memes because people need to understand your Patreon doesn't have to be some evil thing that you sold your what did I say? Patreon.
You said Patreon.
I would love to make a warlock whose patron was just like a bunch of people that are like a little like pantheon of like sub gods that are just like giving to his funds.
She's got a crystal ball. All right, all of you pay me X amount of gold, and I will go cast fireball on this guy.
Streamer warlock.
Let's do this. Okay.
No.
That'd be an interesting sci-fi premise, actually.
You could do that with Genie. I think
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
put Genie subclass and like, because you can literally go into like an object and like talk to your patron.
I didn't realize that. That's actually really cool. All right. Cool. Yeah, there we go. Next build for any of you people out there who are playing a warlock. All right. What are we thinking then?
I put them low A. I put them at the bottom of A.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will agree with that. I definitely had fun playing with warlock. My biggest gripe with warlock, repetitiveness. Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast. It's a good cantrip. I will not say that it is a bad cantrip. It is a good cantrip, and you can like build it into different things with the evocations, but it is a little bit repetitive.
No, I'd agree. Yeah.
All right, Ben. Let's do this, Ben. It's wizard time.
Okay. I'm gonna start by saying this.
You got
Wizard.
a minute to defend the wizard.
Wizard for a brand new player is probably F.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Heck yes.
Wizard is the worst new player class.
Yeah.
I would have to handily be argued against.
I am still scared to play a wizard.
Yeah.
Like, I am still scared because I know that there's a lot going into it.
Yeah.
Well, I think someone did. Do not quote me on this, but like by level 5, when you like get like your like level 3s, I think you have like almost 100 spells or something that you can like pick through. I'm not 100% on that, but
Hold on, I'm googling
in
that.
terms of like the massive spell list, there's a lot of them. But like the problem is also that you have this giant list, and then you have to pick which lists you want to add to your book. And then from your list in your book, you have to prepare which ones you want from your book.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so so basically you have the wizard spell list, right?
Okay.
From that list, you get to, I think at first level, it's like, fuck, I have to look it up every time when I see when I go to make a wizard.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I'm not going to count them all, but just very quick, quickly. If you go to spells, if you go to wizard, and then you go cantrip, first level, second level, and third level spells, there's 10 pages. So like,
Yeah, no, starter class. Okay,
Yeah.
but versatility, I guess is
I'd give him like
really.
I'd give him like a C.
Oh,
really,
Maybe a B.
oh,
Maybe a B.
really for versatility.
Cause like
interesting.
I guess they couldn't be like tank.
no. Well,
Mm,
not so they could be an off tank, but I don't think they could be main tank for anybody who played the original Overwatch. But because they've got their abjuration subclass, which gives them that protective shield, and if they at a certain level, you can basically push that shield out to somebody else to protect them and shield them from damage.
oh, yeah. Oh, that I see I get what you're saying, Ben.
Yeah, okay.
That's a good reference. I like that. Yeah, okay. I could see them being a yeah, that's
See, I do.
ish.
I definitely think, especially with the core, like
Mhm.
before Chronomancy, Blade Singing, Graviturgy.
Yeah.
I feel like when you, especially you had like the core, you're really good at spells and really really good at one specific kind of spell.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly like when I think wizard, I think that I'm coming in and I'm gonna sit there. I gotta study the situation first, and then I have to prep my spell that's gonna work with this. And I just have the entire list of spells at my disposal. Not that okay, my fireballs are I'm better at destruction versus necromancy because that's why I trained in. I just feel like when I'm thinking of wizard, I want something that's a little more flexible amongst all of the spell classes, not really focusing on one.
So
Yeah.
the problem is that wizard requires so much forethought before going into a situation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
or even before you even know that there's a situation that is going to happen, because you have your list of wizard spells, right? And then every time you level up, or if God save your DM, they give you enough money to be able to buy spells somewhere. You then have your list of spells that you have in your book. And then at the beginning of every day, you have to choose what spells from your book you want for that day.
I would collapse field position trying to make that decision because it
I
is
definitely
painful
think-
enough as a
So
druid.
I definitely think their versatility is higher than that. I definitely think, like, just because spells in themselves are so versatile, I definitely think I'd put their versatility at an A, but I would put their multi-classing much lower. I feel like there's not
Yeah.
much you want to multi-class with a wizard.
Yeah. There is one, but we'll talk about them in a second.
Are you talking about Blade Singer?
No, Artificer, like
I'm
class
talking
wise.
about Artificer.
Oh,
with a
we're
multi-class.
talking about yeah.
Yeah.
Multi-classing. Yeah, no, I think there's just very little you want to multi-class wizard with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think I'd put them overall at a C.
I was gonna say that's as nice. That's as nice as I can go as a C.
Yeah.
I will put because I know their power level is off the charts. I'll be nice and put them above a monk.
Oh yes,
Yes.
they're
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. I definitely think I think that their new like again their versatility again. I might even put it A. I think they have a good amount of different stuff that they can do. But again, their multi-classing, I'd put it C.
Yeah.
Highest, and then their Nubu players F. And if we're doing all that, it rounds to C for sure.
Yeah. All right. Ben, confirm.
God, that hurts me so much.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I'm sorry. Ben, confirm or deny for me the most complex class? Question mark. Artificer.
Yes.
Okay. Now
I would say yes.
last but not least, the most complex class.
Yeah.
Which I can't even begin. I tried to get an understanding of an artificer.
It's worse than a wizard.
It did not
It's worse
click
than
in
wizard
my
for a new
brain.
player.
for new players, it's like double F. Like
Yeah.
F minus.
Yeah, you got kicked out of the school. They're like, you can't do this anymore.
No,
It is.
you're not allowed.
There's a. I do not agree with the build times. I'm sorry. I think they're just too strict and too long. I would be so. I would like. Obviously, I want the. If I'm not a dungeon master. I'm more of a player. But if a player wants to be an artificer and wants to just build stuff, I will let them build the stuff, but I would just make them roll a lot and it'd be a lot of checks, and maybe whatever they're building just wouldn't be as effective as they were thinking, and be like some disadvantages to it.
I just think they don't have enough support.
I agree.
In which aspect? Because
they need they have the lowest amount of subclasses, which makes sense because they're the newest class, but they've never received more subclasses. Like they've started with the 4, and that's all they've got. And then the idea of creation is just not fleshed out. I feel like
there are rules for it. I believe in Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Okay.
For being able to create like stuff, and this is like when we were playing in Mary Beth's campaign. This is I reference this table a lot. But I think one of the biggest issues that when it comes to crafting is that the idea that when you have to sit down to craft something is that the time it takes to craft said objects includes going out and actually finding the materials, I believe.
Yeah.
Which means if you have the materials, the making of the item itself should be significantly less than what it is.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the idea that it takes to make a common item or something, that it takes like a full day, probably requires you to be in like a big city and have access to be able to pay for the materials to buy certain things and then be able to cobble it together. Or like if I wanted to create a rare level magic item, if it's going to take me 2 weeks to go do it, that's probably the time it takes for me to go out, slay the monster that I need to for the item, and then come back and cobble it together.
Oh.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So, winding into the ideas, I definitely think that again, super F for new players. I think I think their versatility is decent. I think between alchemist and art and armor and artillerist or whatever, I think they have a decent kinds of what they are. I don't know. I might like how to be. That's one thing I will give the artificer. You can multi-class it with basically anything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah. Because their spell list in and of itself is very wide in terms of what you can do with it. There's a lot of just very easy utility based stuff you can do with their spells. Like they get cure wounds, I think. And then they also get a lot of like your standard. They might even get like shield and stuff like that, which at that point, you're
well, and I mean, again, you're losing some of the spell versatility, but like you think about like even like barbarian, like armor artificer, just give your barbarian thunder gauntlets or a defensive shield. Like, yeah.
There's a lot that I think that you can do with this class, but infuse item is an awful ability for a brand new player because you need to have such a good knowledge of magical items.
Yeah. I think it's a cool ability, but you need to just do a lot of research.
My thing that I really don't like about infuse item is that similar to some people's gripes, I think, with like wizards in terms of their spell casting, is that you pick like 4 items that you want to duplicate and like have at your disposal, but you can only ever have 2 active at a time. And you can't just swap, like you have to know what items you pick basically at the beginning of the day when you're preparing your spells. So like you end up picking, usually, at least when I played Artificer, you end up picking like 2 items and then not touching the other 2. Like
yeah.
It's quite sad, but yeah. It's difficult.
No, I definitely put Artificer I might put Artificer below Monk in this particular range of lists.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was considering a D, but
See, I think you know what? It might actually go above Ranger in D.
Yeah, I think above Ranger and D.
my only little my only saving grace for it would just be like the multi-class, but
Yeah.
is that enough to save it from the D?
I don't think so, because like it's really easy to multi-class with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best thing to multi-class into.
Okay.
I think it's the best okay multi-classing option for most things.
I think Jonah might actually have a point. I'd be fine with putting it at bottom C, because on top of just the subclasses that you might be able to get when you multi-class,
Mm-hmm.
access to having basically 2 magical items for being able to create the kind of build that you're hoping to like round out without needing to rely on the DM to give you magic items,
Mm-hmm.
can be quite strong, I feel
Yeah.
like, for
Yeah.
creating the build that you want.
That's true. Yeah, I'm good with a low C then.
All right. Cool. Saved from the D. All right. Well, that is everything. I'll read through the list real quick right here in case we want to change anything. So, top S is Cleric, followed closely by Fighter. Wait a minute.
Sure. I think Fighter was above Cleric.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Hold on.
yeah.
Let me swap
I
that
think
around.
Fighter was our S of S's in these particular things.
The S of S's.
Yeah.
Oh man, maybe I didn't put this in order. Oh crap. Next is A list. Top of A list is Bard.
That sounds right.
Okay. Next is Druid.
We put Druid in A.
Did we?
I thought we did.
In terms of,
I thought we did.
We might, because what was our thing? Because it wasn't. Well, sorry, it was versatile, but it wasn't very user friendly, and it wasn't very. And it was okay multi-class friendly. I think that's a B. I don't remember.
Okay. Let me take Druid out for the moment.
Okay.
Of A, and we'll hold on to Druid for a second.
Okay.
So if that's the case, it's top of list Bard,
Mhm.
then Rogue, then Warlock.
In A,
Yeah.
I'd put Rogue above Bard.
Rogue above
Yes.
Bard?
Rogue.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rogue, Bard, Warlock, I think is decent for
Rogue,
A.
Bard, Warlock. All right.
I'm good with that.
B is for Barbarian, because he's at the top of the list. Next is Sorcerer, and then Paladin.
I'd put Druid here. I'd put Druid between Sork and Paladin. I think I'm okay going Barbarian, Sork, Druid, Paladin.
Okay. Ben,
What do you
agree?
think, Ben? Yeah.
Oh, Ben's thinking hard.
You know, I'll take it, because I think, the strong points of Druid are kind of the weak points of Paladin. So
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In the C list, we got the Wizard at the top, followed by the Monk, and then the Artificer at the very bottom of C.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
Fine.
The only D lister is the Ranger.
Yep.
Nothing for E. The unfortunate Blood Hunter is the only F.
Yeah.
So sorry, Blood Hunter.
Yeah.
No offense, Mr. Mercer. You know what? That's the next video. How can we fix the Blood Hunter?
I think there was recent fixes.
How can we
not
be
too long
smarter
ago.
than Matt Mercer? Matt Mercer's an idiot. How do we fix this stuff?
No, I'm not saying that. Don't twist my words.
Okay.
No.
Here's my thing for the power levels, and we're here. If you want DD outro, I'm about to go on a little.
I will give you 30 seconds for power.
Okay. So in terms of power, my biggest issues with things like Blood Hunter and Ranger is because it is dependent on how nice your DM is. Because they're kind of magic item and or theme dependent. in order for them to like work or operate in a proper way. Like a lot of the subclasses for like for Blood Hunter are
Mhm.
very heavily themed. And so if you're not playing it in the right theme, some of them just don't work. Like Order of the Ghost Slayer, you're never going to be able to really use some of your abilities unless you're
It's
hunting ghosts.
I definitely think that Blood Hunter benefits from a specific setting. I think that if you're playing, I I think
Curse
that
of
if
Strahd.
you're yeah exactly if you're playing Curse of Strahd, if you're playing Ravenloft, Blood Hunter phenomenal all the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And any base campaign, stop the goblins, evil king, you're just not going to get use out of it.
Or like
All right.
in Ranger's case,
I would.
Gloomstalker. If you're
Yeah.
never attacking at night,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't do that much. It's
Yeah.
worse assassin.
Ranger
And-
and Blood Hunter are like the most situational classes because
Yeah,
you
and-
need them.
And again, to go back to what I said, I think again, it might just be the kind of stories that I like telling, but I like them thematically for that reason because they really
absolutely.
slot into what I like to play. I like Strahd and the horror and the dark,
Yeah.
and I like detective bounty hunter stuff. Like I love that stuff, but they're just in your basic. All right, party. Let's pull a note off the billboard. We're going to hunt some goblins. They're just not. They
Yeah.
don't slot
Yeah.
well.
All right.
They need a little extra love.
A little bit. Maybe at some point. I haven't been. Ben, maybe you know a little more about 1D&D, whatever the crap they have planned.
That's
but,
a whole
like,
other conversation.
Yeah, I know.
I like 70% of what they're doing.
Okay, that's all right. Cool.
I'd bump it to 75, but I'm not going higher than that.
All right. Well, I knew this video was gonna go long, but you know what? You guys need to hear this because I'll say this is most like a guide of like, if you're going into it, you don't know what class you want to play, use this as a little bit of a reference. Obviously, these are
Just play
most
fighter.
just play fighter. Yeah. If you're playing the introduction to D&D, play fighter. After that, come here, figure out what your next class is gonna be. And again, these are our thoughts and opinions. That being said, we got a lot of experience, or you two have a lot of experience, and I'm still trying to find my way through.
If I was going to give one piece of advice, I think this list is a good example of our experience and what would be good for like a beginning player and stuff like that. I do feel like if I could give one piece of advice, it's I think build your story before you build your character, because
that's actually extremely
you should always.
fair.
I think you will have a much better experience if you find a thing that you love to pretend to be, and then do it from there. Even if that turns out to be a wizard.
Yeah. Oh man, jeez, I can't imagine.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you stayed for the giant ride, and hopefully it was a good, informative ride at that. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'm Rick Quasar. This has been myself. Point at you, Josh.
Oh, Josh.
And Ben.
And and make sure you guys come back here to see whatever I have planned next for the archives. Until then, have a good night.